Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about I guess you could call it a controversy surrounding the trans community. I don't really know what you would call it, but basically I'm going to be talking about whether or not it's transphobic to not want to date somebody that is transgender. I know you saw the thumbnail, so yes, I am going to be reacting to one of Blair White's videos. This is literally like the perfect video. She just perfectly captures all of the anti-trans, transphobic, talking points that the opposition loves to push. So, sorry girl, I'm gonna have to use your video again today. I am gonna start out and just tell you guys up front whether I think it's transphobic or not to not want to date a trans person, but then I'm gonna get into the video and talk about each specific point that, the opposition loves to make. I post new videos here on my channel every Thursday and Monday, so if you guys are not yet subscribed and you would like to be, make sure that you do that right now. I'll wait for you, go ahead, I'll wait for you. I need to get that down. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter to keep as up to date with me as possible. And yeah, with no further ado, let's get right into today's video. So like I said, I'm going to start out this video by talking about whether or not I think it's transphobic to not want to date somebody that's trans. My answer to that question would be sometimes, I guess. There's obviously a lot of different reasons why somebody would choose to not want to be with a trans person, some of which I think are, perfectly valid, perfectly acceptable reasons to not date a trans person, but some of the other ones are pretty blatantly transphobic. I just don't get how people are like, no, that's not transphobic. Like, some of these examples or some of these reasons are just explicitly like, you're a dude. The main reason and the main argument that people love to bring up is genital preference. They say that nobody should be called a bigot for not wanting to date somebody that has the genitalia that they are not comfortable with. And I completely agree. It would be silly to try to argue that, no, you have to date somebody even if they have a penis, like you have to just be comfortable with it. Like, you don't. If you're not attracted to somebody, if you don't have, sexual attraction to that person, that is a very valid thing. I wouldn't want to date somebody that I wasn't sexually attracted to either. So yeah, if you don't want to date a trans woman that is pre-operative, or if you don't want to date a trans woman that is even post-op, but you're just like not attracted to it, it's kind of hard to say because a lot of people want to be like, well, I'm not attracted to, whatever they did to you down there. And it's just like, you don't even know what's going on down there. I don't know. So yeah, that's a little sketchy to me. Just like ruling out all trans people, even if they've had bottom surgery due to a genital preference. That's just like, so what? You just don't think the doctors did a good job? What, is that what you're saying? They did a good job. I'm just playing, but all jokes aside, genital preference is a perfectly valid excuse, or you wouldn't even call it an excuse. It's a perfectly valid reason to not want to be with somebody who's trans. Another reason why somebody may not want to be in a relationship with someone once they find out that they're trans is if they've been lied to. So this example I feel like doesn't even relate too heavily to being trans. It's just kind of like a general thing. If you start a relationship saying that you're cisgender and you're just not cisgender, that's a bad way to start a relationship. You're starting it off on lies. And honestly, I wouldn't blame somebody for not wanting to be with somebody that started a foundation based off lies. That's just me though, I don't know. That being said, I want to make it clear that me not explicitly stating that I am transgender is not the same as saying that I am cisgender. If it never gets brought up in conversation, if nobody ever asks if I'm trans and I don't say it, that's not me lying to them, okay? Are we clear? So the last valid reason that I'm going to be talking about at least is the necessity of being able to have biological children. This one is just like, if you really need to have your own biological children that badly, like, okay, that's fine. You do you. But at the same time, it's just like, it's kind of a shitty thing for me. Picture you were with a cisgender woman and after a couple of years, you guys were trying to have children together and you found out that she was infertile. Would you just break up with her and go find somebody else, even if you loved her? Like, that seems kind of shitty. Or even if you were just starting a relationship with a cisgender person and they told you like, hey, just so you know, I can't have biological children. Would you treat them the same that you would treat a trans woman and say like, oh, sorry, I can't date you? Or would you say, it's okay, we'll figure it out once we get there. We'll figure it out when the time comes. Anybody else? Just me? Okay, sorry. So that's pretty much it for the valid reasons that we'll talk about today. But there are some more like kind of questionable reasons that I do want to talk about because like, I don't know, I think it's important to mention it. I've dated some guys where they were attracted to me and they were into it and they wanted to be with me or whatever, but once they found out, they couldn't get over like this sense of like shame that they felt. Does that make sense? They couldn't get over this fear of being judged by their friends or their families or, even just their peers for being with a trans woman. To be honest, like I do understand that. I do like kind of sympathize with that. Empathize, sympathize. I never remember the difference between the two, but I do feel for them, Society and the media have created this hatred of trans people, this disgust with trans women specifically. And after seeing horrible representation after horrible representation and trans women being the butt of the joke all the time, anybody would start to feel shame about being attracted to a trans woman. That's what we are literally taught to feel. So when I was talking to guys and they would bring that kind of stuff up, it hurt. Obviously it hurt. Like it felt shitty that they weren't, so confident in, pursuing something with me that they were willing to just kind of deal with that. But at the same time, like I did understand, and I did, like, I feel bad. At the same time, like, get over it. Like, I have it way worse, but at the same time, like, I get it, you know? The point that I think that it gets transphobic, and the point that I think that a lot of trans activists thinks that it gets transphobic, I'm like stumbling on my words, I'm thinking so fast, is when somebody will admit that they're attracted to you, but simply don't want to be with you just because you're transgender. They say things like, I can't be with somebody that used to be a boy, or kind of just like any other excuse that essentially tells you they don't see you as a full or like a real woman. They see you as somebody that used to be a boy. And to me, again, it could be a result of the media, but like also like, bitch, figure that out. I'm not a boy, like, fuck you. These excuses are explicitly saying that they don't think of us as real women. I don't even know how to put this, like, they just don't see us as women. That's obviously transphobic. I don't know. I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say, but hopefully if you don't, you know, debunking this video will help you guys understand my point of view a little. Okay, so the video that we're gonna be watching today is titled, Date Me or You're Transphobic. In quotes, by the way. Like I said, I'm not trying to hate on Blair, but like, the person in this video never said this. I don't know why she does this all the time. She puts quotes as her title, but like the person in the video never said this. Anyways, whatever. Let's get into it.
It's this op-ed titled, Why Can't My Famous Gender Nonconforming Friends Get Laid? And this article is about Alok Vinman, I can never pronounce his name, and Jacob Tobias.
Hold on. Hold on, girl, hold on. Okay, we are literally like 5 seconds in, and she's already misgendered. Again, this is not the point of the video. I'm not gonna harp on this, but like their pronouns are they, them. You're literally reading an article where it says their pronouns. It talks about them being non-binary and you're just gonna use he. Okay, continue.
They are awful. I talked about them before. They're basically just like horrendous representations for trans people. I think it's absolutely tragic that they are placed on red carpets and on television to represent trans people. It's definitely a joke. And this op-ed is definitely a joke. And
I'm gonna let you continue. Hold on, I'm gonna let you continue. I just gotta say one thing. She's saying that they're horrendous representation for trans people. Girl, no, they're trans. You cannot be bad representation of a trans person if you're a trans person. How does that make any sense? You could maybe argue that they're bad representation for transsexuals or binary transsexuals like you. Sure, yeah, sure. But by definition, they are trans.
I did a video about this years ago, and people still always ask me about it. This whole like, is it transphobic to not date trans women?
Also, hold on. I was gonna react to the original video, but I could not find it. It wasn't like linked or anything. Like, I couldn't find it.
This whole narrative about how hard it is to date as a trans person, and it's very tiring. So we're not gonna read this entire op-ed, but we're definitely going to dip into it.
I'm gonna stop it again. I'm sorry, I've stopped it like every 5 seconds right now, but she's not gonna read the whole thing? I wonder why she would choose to not read the whole thing and also, you know, not link it for context or anything like that. I really hope this doesn't cause any issues in the future. Just kidding, I already watched the video, so I know she's about to like falsely represent this article, but you wouldn't know that because she only put her favorite chunks in. And she didn't link it.
Alok and Jacob complained that they couldn't get matches in the first place, even when they started resorting to swiping right on almost everyone. And even with the few matches they did get, guys didn't respond when they messaged. I wondered aloud why Alok and Jacob weren't getting matches. So this plays into, like, I can't. So if you guys aren't following, these are two non-binary people, biologically male. They look like this, and they're thoroughly confused as to why they're not getting matches from straight men.
Okay, so we already have our first example of her contradicting the literal article that she is quoting. Nowhere in this article does it say that Jacob and Alok are confused why straight men aren't attracted to them. That's not at all like what the article says. The paragraph after the one that she put in her video says, but if you think all of that would land them a date, you'd be wrong. And nobody is more puzzled than me, the narrator speaking, as to why such obvious catches are having dating problems when so many clamor for their attention. They're not confused about it whatsoever. Again, this isn't important. It's just like, girl, stop.
They're wondering if it's the way they did their makeup, if it's the fact that they're being racist, like anything but straight men are attracted to women.
You are literally agreeing with the article that you are making fun of.
They have this idea that they are entitled to romance and love and dates and sexual encounters from the specific people they want it from. Like, doesn't matter how you look, you can have a chest full of hair, present entirely male in my opinion, and yet somehow be shocked and bewildered that a straight man isn't attracted to you.
This is why it is so frustrating when people do not provide context or even link the article so that you can get your own context. Nobody in this article is saying that everybody needs to be attracted to them or that they are entitled to have sex with whoever they want. What are you talking about? This article is literally just talking about the struggles that they have. That's it. The link's in the description. You can read it if you want.
This type of thing just basically highlights what I have said for so long about being a transsexual like myself, that it is so different than being non-binary or being, you know, considering yourself this in-between type of thing. Because, I mean, every trans woman I know that's on dating sites, whether it be Tinder or trans-specific dating sites or whatever, have literally no problem attracting straight men, because if you have transitioned and you have achieved secondary sex characteristics of a woman, or if you are fully transitioned, whatever, straight men will be attracted to you. That doesn't mean that once they know that you're transgender, they'll necessarily want to be with you long term or in a serious way. That's a whole other conversation. But like, if 1 + 1 = 2.
This is my favorite part because she's literally agreeing with the article like over and over and over and over and over again. But this part is just like explicit. You're talking about how if you are a binary trans person and you fully by the way, also she said non-binary in between gender thing. She's describing non-binary people as things, just if you didn't catch that. She's making this argument that if you fully transition to a woman, then straight men will be attracted to you. This is literally what the article is about, girl. It says, dating among non-binary femmes is even trickier, as the vast majority of people, even queer ones, imagine themselves as dating men or women exclusively. So non-binary folks can complicate how others view one's sexuality. Also, it's just really kind of sad to me that she cut out all the parts about Alok and Jacob's successful dates. They have had some successful, you know, matches or whatever, but Blair just wants to paint this image of them being totally undateable. Quite sad, really. Like my British accent.
And I know that being trans and dating and having love and all that does come with its own unique setbacks and complications, as with a lot of things there are. But like, I don't know any trans people who are just so desperate for dates that they have to claim anyone who isn't dating them is transphobic.
Yeah, hold on. I don't know any people like that either. Not even the people in the article were like that. She literally just said, I don't know anybody like that, but y'all are all like that. Y'all are crazy.
There are a lot of people who very much prioritize like having children very quickly into a relationship.
I talked about the whole kids thing already. Like, it's fine, whatever, you do you. Kind of shallow, kind of shitty, in my opinion, but whatever.
Now, of course, are there some people who don't want to date trans people because they don't like trans people or because they even hate trans people? Of course.
Okay, we can call it quits right there. We can just stop the video and, you know, she agrees. She agrees with us. Some people that don't want to date trans people are transphobic. Thanks, Blair, love you.
Like, I'm trying to figure out how we went from sexual preferences being completely not in your control and you can't change it and you shouldn't be judged for it to you have to have a sexual preference for trans people, otherwise you hate them. Like,
nobody is saying that everybody has to be sexually attracted to them. I don't know where she is hearing this argument. Like, I truly have no idea. To me, she's literally doing the same thing as people who argue that trans people are just transitioning to get at women in bathrooms, blah, blah, blah. It's a disgusting attempt to make us seem predatory and to make our identities about sex, which it is not. We are not saying that you have to be attracted to us. We are saying if you are attracted to us before you know, then you should still be attracted to us after you know.
We also have to consider that not every single trans woman out there, in fact, a lot have not fully transitioned below. And why should they be branded bigots for not wanting penis?
Again, having a general preference is perfectly okay, and the vast majority of trans people agree with that.
Maybe the fact that you cannot get a date is more so due to the fact that you're insufferable and annoying as shit, rather than because you're trans. That's another possibility as well. Like, we should probably consider the fact that you guilt trip people for not wanting to be with you as maybe a reason why they don't want to be with you.
Do you know these two individuals? So gross to me. You're saying that these people are insufferable and annoying as shit. You don't know them. What? They're non-binary? What? They present with body hair? Like, what is your issue? Okay, you guys, that is it for today's video. Hopefully I cleared up my stance on whether or not I think it's transphobic to not want to date trans people. If you guys have any questions or misunderstandings or anything like that, leave them down below. I'll do my best to get back to them and clear anything up for you guys. If you did like this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up down below. It really helps out my channel a lot. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell if you are not already and you would like to be. Other than that, I think I'm going to go. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in Thursday's video. Bye, guys.